Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Casey and I'm the designer behind Pattern Scout. I am a sewing pattern designer and I run this YouTube channel where I share all things related to sewing, specifically garment sewing. And today I wanted to go over all of the things that I made for the spring and summer of this year. So spring and summer of 2022. Now summer is almost over and I have to admit I'm a little sad about that. I love summertime. It is my favorite season of the year. And I know it's really hot, but I just love it. I love sewing for summertime. I love being outside and being in the sunshine, and I just have a lot of good feels around the summertime. But I'm also excited for fall, and I've actually already started planning my fall wardrobe. So next week I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But today I just want to go over everything that I made for the summer and the spring. And these aren't in any particular order. I just kind of put them on the rack where I thought they should be. And I'm just gonna start at one end and go all the way to the other. So the first item that I wanna share is this dress that I made. This was actually a make that was inspired by a dress that I found on a trip to Spain. So I went to Spain this summer for a wedding and I bought a dress at, I think the store was Sephora, I hope I'm saying that right. And it was just a really pretty pleated sundress and I love the style of it, and I bought it because I loved it, but I also bought it because I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a dupe of this pattern. And that's what I did here with this dress. I have worn this dress so much, and I don't usually wear a lot of dresses, but this one's just really easy to wear. It was really easy to make. It's just pleated across the top of the bodice. It's got some really simple little tie straps and it's finished off with a bias binding. It's very comfortable. I like that I can dress it up or dress it down a little bit more casual, and I've definitely worn this a lot. For someone who doesn't wear a lot of dresses, I've worn this dress a lot. And I'll put a link to that in the description. And actually for everything that I'm sharing today, if there is a video or anything relevant to that particular make, I will put a link in the description, so be sure to check the description because I always get people asking me questions that are usually answered in the description, so make sure you check that out. Okay, so next up is this really cute little black dress that I made actually last week, and I shared a video for that as well. I made this dress using the BUNDLEUP system, and BUNDLEUP is just a pattern making system. It's supposed to be really easy and straightforward to make patterns using just 2 measurements from your body. And it worked really well for me. I really liked the system and I did a review on the system. You can check that out. I did that last week. I just made this in a black linen and it has a little zip up the center back, and I thought it turned out super cute. I've already worn it. I wore it for my birthday breakfast last weekend and thought it looked really cute with a little blue jean jacket and some tennis shoes. And you could also dress this up really easily. So this will definitely be a wardrobe staple. And hopefully I'll get a few more chances to wear this before the warm weather goes completely away. So anyhow. Okay, so next up, another dress that I have is this green lace dress that I made to wear to that wedding in Spain. And I'd worked with lace before, like a stretch lace, but this was the first time that I had really tried to do a lot of pattern matching, and I did like an interlining, and it's a little bit more fitted dress and not as stretchy as that other stretch lace that I used. So it did present some challenges, but I really love how this dress turned out. And I actually drafted this using my bodice sloper. So I kind of go over that a little bit in the video that I shared about this dress. But I started out with a bodice sloper and then just modified that to create the pattern for this dress. And then for the skirt, I actually used my skirt sloper, which I also have a video for, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. But basically I just used patterns that I already had and modified them to create this dress. And I love how this dress turned out. It was perfect for the wedding. It was very comfortable. And it's also bra friendly, so yay for that. So if you've wondered how to digitally draft a bodice sloper, I have a class on that over on Skillshare. And speaking of Skillshare, let's take a quick little break. I'd like to take a minute to chat about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who is interested in exploring their creativity and learning new skills. As a creative business owner, I have turned to Skillshare so many times over the years for help on topics ranging from graphic design to video editing to entrepreneurship, and have found it to be such an amazing resource for all of those topics and so much more. And you may have heard me mention Skillshare before because I actually have a few classes of my own on the platform, sharing what I've learned over the years as a creative business owner and a pattern designer. Skillshare offers a totally ad-free learning experience so that you can stay focused while exploring new skills. And new premium classes are launched each week, so there's always something new to discover. Now, as you know, I invest a lot of time in designing my own wardrobe and feel pretty comfortable with that. And I share that here with you on the channel. But lately I've been wanting to invest a little bit more time in my home and designing my home and making it reflect my personal style a little bit better. I recently discovered the class, Style Your Space, Creative Tips and Techniques for Interior Design by Emily Henderson. There's a style quiz and a plan for implementing your style into your home using items you already have, as well as finding vintage and thrifted items to complete your space. And I love thrifting, so I love that part of it. And I have found that a lot of the classes on Skillshare are really good at providing a very clear plan to help you fight that overwhelm that comes along with learning a new creative skill. If you are interested in exploring more classes, Skillshare is offering a 1-month free trial to the first 1,000 people that click the link in the description below this video. Okay, let's get back to it. So I'll put a link also to the bodice slipper class that I have over on Skillshare too, if you want to check that out. So next up, I have a couple of skirts here. So the first one is this linen skirt that I made, and I also made a lyocell twill version. It's a little bit longer, and I made both of these skirts in my video showing you how to basically draft by draping fabric on your body, and it was just a really easy way to draft a skirt pattern, and I ended up making these two skirts that I really love. Now, I made them both a midi length for the video, and then for the linen version, I ended up cutting it off into a short skirt, and I ended up wearing it a lot more as a short skirt, and I might actually trim this one into a short skirt length as well, just because I feel like the shorter skirt is more my style, and I do have a video on how I drafted both of these. And I have used that skirt sloper a lot to draft other patterns, so I kind of have used it as a base pattern to build other patterns off of, and I'll share more of that again in just a second. Next up, I have this little green linen skirt. And this was something that I made using a vintage pattern. So a while back, like maybe a couple years ago, I hit the mother lode at the thrift store and found a bunch of vintage patterns. And I've slowly been getting to a few of them. I haven't gotten to nearly as many as I want to yet, but this was just a little skirt pattern that I found. It's probably from the 90s, and I love it. It turned out so cute. I made this right before I went down south for a beach trip. I didn't wear it as much as I thought I would immediately after I made it, because the waistband in the pattern was drafted as just a straight strip of fabric, and I really needed a shaped waistband. Probably about a month ago, I took the waistband off and kind of added a little bit of shaping to the waistband so that it was more of a curve shape, so that it would fit against my lower back a little bit better and not gape open in the back. And that fixed the problem, and I love this. I've worn it now a couple of times, and I think it is so cute. So yeah, love how this one turned out, and I'll show you the pattern too that I used. I guess the brand name of the pattern is Style, and it's 2299. And so if you ever happen to come across this, if you come across some vintage patterns and find this one, I really, really love this one. You might be able to find it on Etsy too. Sometimes I have been able to find vintage patterns on Etsy or even eBay. I'm sure if you just looked up the pattern, and now that you know what the picture looks like, you might be able to find it. I don't know. Okay, so next up is another pair of green linen shorts this time. So this is a pattern that I actually drafted using my skirt sloper that I mentioned earlier. And I just took the skirt sloper and added a crotch curve to the front and the back. And I did a video on it so that you can see kind of how I did that. And I just made some really simple little elastic waist shorts with pockets. I was also trying to sort of dupe a pattern that I love that is a McCall's pattern that's like just a basic shorts pattern with pockets. And I just wanted to see if my draft would look similar to that particular pattern. And it did. It actually turned out pretty similar. So, you know, if you're interested in kind of a really simple drafting project, I definitely recommend checking out that video. But really happy with how this turned out, and I've actually been using this pattern that I drafted quite a lot. And I also created another pair of shorts using that same pattern out of this rayon material that I made the dress out of. And these are like little pajama shorts, and super cute, very comfortable to wear. I mostly just wear these around the house though. So anyhow. Okay, so next up is actually a pattern that I released this year, the poppy blouse. So this has been the only pattern that I've released so far this year, and I really love how it turned out, but it's just a very flowy, oversized, you know, romantic peasant blouse. And it's got this kind of gathered neckline here. And the thing that I like about this pattern, and one of my goals when I was designing this pattern, was to get that sort of ruched detail around the neckline without having a drawstring, something that would be stationary. But yeah, I really love how this turned out. I made this one in this red rayon from Art Gallery Fabrics, and I picked up that fabric at Seams Fabric, which is a local fabric store here in East Lansing that always has beautiful fabrics, a beautiful selection. It comes in 2 versions. Version A has the little peplum skirt hem, and version B is just a straight hem. And I also have a sew along for this pattern here on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see how to make this, you can follow along with that. Then I also did a pattern hack of the poppy blouse. This was actually a sample that I made for the version B with just the straight hem, and it had long sleeves, but I really wanted to try it out with shorter sleeves. So I just chopped off the sleeves and did a little bit of shirring on the sleeves. And then I also did some shirring on the waistline. And I think I actually trimmed the bottom hem by a couple of inches just to make it a little bit more cropped. But this turned out really cute. I've actually worn this a few times this summer, and yeah, really happy. And it was a really easy pattern hack of that blouse pattern. Okay, so another dress that I made this summer was this very simple racer back style knit dress. And I originally made it as a long midi length dress, and then I ended up trimming it to above the knees because, again, I just like the shorter style on me. I feel more comfortable in a shorter skirt. And anyway, but this is very comfortable, and I also showed the process of making this in the same video that I did the skirt in. So yeah, super cute. Okay, so one last dress that I made this summer was this little floral wrap dress that I made before my trip to Spain, and it turned out super cute. Again, it was self-drafted from my bodice sloper. I just kind of made some modifications. I did not film that, and I haven't shared that yet, but I do plan to eventually do a tutorial for how to make that wrap bodice style. When I got back from Spain, I never wore the dress. Like, I just didn't really feel like it fit into my lifestyle back home. And so actually last week I trimmed it into a little shirt here, so a little wrap shirt. I started trying to hem it and it got a little bit kind of wonky, so I actually have been trying, I need to take the hem out and kind of redo it. But I think I'm gonna get more use out of this now that it's actually a blouse and not a dress, because I can wear it with jeans. And I think that'll just kind of fit into my style and my lifestyle a little bit better. But it turned out really cute. Even as a dress, it was actually very, very cute, but I just found myself never wearing it. Oh, and also, so this little black dress that I made, I really liked that pattern so much, and I thought, oh wow, this has so much hacking potential. So I actually made the blouse that I'm wearing right here in this video, and all I did was just chop off the skirt and add a little ruffle hem, and then added some elastic straps, you know, just to kind of give a little ruffle vibe here. And then for the back, because I didn't want to put in a zipper, I just did some shirring along the back and kind of left the bottom unshirred so that it could have a little ruffle at the bottom. And it was really simple to put together. And I actually ended up posting my very first TikTok video showing a little bit of that process. So I've mostly been a lurker over on TikTok, but I recently shared this video showing a little bit of the process of making this. I kind of just wanted to experiment with it and see what it would be like to post a video over there. So I might post a few videos here and there. I can't guarantee that I'll be on any sort of regular schedule with it. And I actually have a couple of little projects that I thought would be fun to share there. So no guarantees, but I thought it would just be kind of fun occasionally to post over there. And so if you're on TikTok and you want to see what I posted, then you can just find me at Pattern Scout on TikTok. Okay, next up, all right, let's do this one. So this was a little tube top tank that was inspired by a blouse that I saw on Anthropologie.com. And I go on Anthropologie a lot, actually, and I'm always scoping out their stuff and getting ideas and inspiration for things that I want to make. I really love the style that they represent over there on their site. And yeah, I actually have never bought anything from Anthropologie, but I'm on their site all the time, and I get little messages and they're like, do you need help with something? Because I'm sure that like they see my IP address pop up there all the time, and the algorithm's like, we gotta get this girl to buy some stuff. I do love getting inspiration from them. And this one was really simple. It was some fabric that I had in my stash for a really long time. So when I saw that blouse from Anthropologie, I was like, oh, that would be perfect for that fabric. And yeah, it turned out really cute. I did a video on this. This was also part of the video series of things that you can make out of a rectangle of fabric. And I thought this turned out really, really great. So definitely check that out. And continuing the theme of things that you can make out of a rectangle without a pattern, I made these two ribbed tank tops. And I have worn these so much. These have been two of the most worn things in my wardrobe this summer. They were really easy to make. They look really cute with a lot of different things, and I wanted to make them with these wide straps so they looked more like a square neck top and less like just kind of a basic tank top. I did these in the same video that I did the dress, the little pleated dress in. Really happy with how these turned out, and I've gotten a lot of use out of these. Next up is this vest. So this vest actually turned out pretty cute, and I drafted this, you know, right at the beginning of summer, probably actually more like spring. I just wasn't really happy with the construction on it. I was kind of working through some details on this because at one point I thought I might make this into an actual pattern that I sell. And then I just kind of got distracted with other things and kind of put it off to the side. I probably will revisit this at some point. The way that I sewed the lining just wasn't ideal. It was also made out of a lyocell twill, the same twill that I used for this blue skirt. And it was just a little bit more difficult to work with. So I think I would like to revisit this and kind of update the detailing of the lining and make this out of a linen. So I don't know if I'll get to that this year, but definitely something I plan to revisit in the future. It needs a little bit of work, so I did make that. I also made this really cute tank top out of a couple of pillowcases that I thrifted, and I shared this project a couple of videos back, so this is probably like 2 or 3 videos back. I got the idea from the DIY designer. She had done a couple of projects that she made out of a thrifted tablecloth, and it was just like this crocheted lace tablecloth, and the projects just turned out really, really cool and really cute. So that kind of put the crochet idea on my radar, and every time I went to the thrift store I was kind of keeping my eyes peeled for some crochet pieces. Well, sure enough, I found a couple of pillowcases and snatched them up and made this tank top. And now, the last couple of times I've been to the thrift store, I have found more crocheted items. I almost got some more stuff that was like a crocheted lace table runner, and I was like, okay, don't go crazy with the crochet lace. Like, leave this for somebody else. You've already done your crocheted lace project. Anyhow, I do think that that is something that is pretty common to find at the thrift store, so if you're interested in doing a project like this, definitely check that out. But yeah, I love how this turned out. I think it turned out so cute, and it turned out actually better than I expected it to. So that doesn't happen all the time, but this was definitely a successful project, and I'm very pleased with the outcome on this. And then in the same video that I made that little crochet tank top, I also made a pair of flat front wide leg pants. And I used my pants pattern that I used to draft the green shorts. Again, made a couple of adjustments and ended up making this pants pattern because I wanted a pair that wasn't a fully elasticated waist. I wanted it to be flat front. I wanted it to have a separated waistband. And I wasn't originally planning to put elastic in the back, but when I finished it, it was still a little bit loose. So I thought I'll just cinch up the back with a little bit of elastic. And I'm actually really glad I did that because it makes the pants very comfortable to wear. I love how these turned out. They're full length, wide leg pants. I think they look really cute with both the crochet tank top that I made and with my square neck tank tops that I made. So very happy with this. Yeah, and I did a video on this, so check that out. The last thing that I wanted to share with you that I made this year is this little square neck tee. And I did a video at the beginning of the year. When did I do that? Actually, that might have been last year. When was that? Anyhow, I have a pattern for a just basic t-shirt, and it has a crew neck and a scoop neck option. And so I did a sew along for that pattern. It's called the Comfy Tee. And then I also did a couple of pattern hacks to make a square neck top and a tank top out of that tee pattern. The first square neck top that I made had a lining and a clean finish around the square neck. And I really liked that square neck tee, but I wanted to make another one that had a binding around the neckline. So you can see here, I just did kind of a regular t-shirt binding all the way around the neckline. And I definitely have worn this one a lot more because I feel like the neckline is just a little bit more stable the way that I sewed it on this version. I really like that square neck style. I think it's very, obviously I have on kind of a square neck style here. I just feel like it's a very flattering neckline. And anyway, I've gotten a lot of use out of this tee as well. So another thing that I made this year was this little tote bag. And I actually used to make and sell totes and accessories. This was like a business life before Pattern Scout that I had. I was selling products wholesale that I made myself. And anyway, I don't do that anymore, but I thought it would be fun to share kind of something similar to what I used to make all the time and actually sell. And so I made this little lined tote bag. It has pockets on the interior and the exterior, and it's got these kind of cotton webbing handles. Turned out very cute and just, you know, basic tote. If you're looking for something to sew that has a bunch of straight lines, definitely check this out. Yeah, linked below. And then last but not least, I also made a bucket hat. So I loved the bucket hat style when I was in middle school and high school. And I've noticed that they're starting to come back into style lately. And yeah, so I had to make a bucket hat. And also, I mentioned this in the video that I did for this hat, but I kind of have a big noggin, so you know, I'm always having a hard time finding hats. And that was part of the reason that I wanted to make myself a hat, because I could kind of control, you know, how big it was. And I do have a pattern available for this. The pattern is $5, but if you sign up for my email list, then you'll get $5 off of your order, and you can use that toward the purchase of one of my $5 patterns, which this is one of them. So for that pattern, I have this version, which is the basic bucket hat version. And then I also made this version, which is a little bit more of a floppy hat style. I don't know, kind of a fun little sun hat. And both versions are included in the pattern, and they also have 4 sizes. I originally released the pattern with 3 sizes, and then I had a customer reach out and say that they were making one for their son and they needed a size just a little bit bigger. The largest size was still a little too snug. So I did add an additional size to that pattern. So you can check that out. So anyway, I think that is everything. I think that's everything. I made a lot of things this summer. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, 19, 20. So I made 20 items this spring and summer, which is, I feel like that's pretty good. That's a lot of stuff. And I definitely have felt very inspired this summer to sew a lot of stuff. I feel like sewing in the summertime is just so much simpler than sewing for other seasons of the year. So I definitely, my Sojo has been going strong this summer, and I've made a lot of stuff, and I still have projects that I didn't get to that I really wanted to get to. So I don't know, I may still try to do them or just save them for next summer, or maybe I'll get distracted and have a whole new list for next summer, which is usually what happens. And then in my next video, which will most likely be going live next week, I am planning to share some of my fall sewing plans with you guys. And yeah, I've definitely been in the Pinterest rabbit hole on that one and really getting jazzed to sew some new stuff for the fall. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more from me, please be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I release new videos in the future. You can also leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought. Or you can give me a thumbs up if you want to remain a little bit more anonymous. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I think that's all I have for you today. I will see you in the next video. Bye.